Hola mi gente, it's August, and today we got another special episode of the Cooking Papi. Today, unlike all my other episodes so far, we are not cooking today. And that is because there are some more important and dire issues that we need to talk about. And I wanted to use my platform to discuss those. If you do not agree with me using my platform, that is perfectly fine and okay. Unsubscribe button is right there. But I feel like these issues that are happening right now in our country are more important to address than a cooking recipe. So today we are going to talk about Black Lives Matter, protest, and police brutality. As many of you are aware, if you've watched any type of news channel, the murder of George Floyd has set off like a domino effect of protests, both peaceful and riots across the country. Now, George Floyd is not an isolated incident. Before him, there were plenty of black men and women who have been murdered or brutalized by the police. Breonna Taylor, Alton Sterling, just for a few names, but there are countless of names that we all must address and keep in mind. And so this is not an isolated incident. This is something that has continued to go on, and it is time for us to work to put an end to it. Now, also, many of you have probably seen riots where stores are vandalized and broken into. You know, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, riots are the language of the unheard. Since, as far as I can remember, Trayvon Martin, you know, the black community and its allies have protested peacefully through marches to protest police brutality and to protest killings of black men and women that go without justice. And so many years later, those protesters seem like they're falling on deaf ears because we see this continually happening and happening again. So many people are frustrated. Many people are angry, and rightfully so, that their community is not receiving justice. And so since the peaceful protest isn't working, this is another option that many people are taking. And even though it's an option that I myself am taking, I definitely can understand where that anger and frustration is coming out of. And I think it's important to keep in mind that while so many people are talking about tangible material things that can easily be replaced, we are not talking enough about the murders of black men and women, of lives that cannot come back. And that is what's most important, and that is what we need to be talking about. Now, right now, I urge all of my followers, whether you're black, Latino, white, any other race, whether you're straight, queer, to stand up. This is the time for us to take action as American citizens. Because if injustice happens to one of us, it's happening to all of us. There is no us versus them. You know, we're not going to be divided by races, by sexual orientation. Right now, we need to come together and fight against police brutality and fight against injustice. Now, fighting is not just one simple thing. There are many different things that can be done. You can make signs and you can go march in the streets with peaceful, organized protest. But at the same time, we're still facing this global pandemic of COVID-19. And so if your health does not allow it, there are many other ways that you can contribute to the fight against injustice. For one, you can donate. If you can, if you, were lucky enough to still have your job through the quarantines, you can donate to various different websites. There's bail funds that are bailing people out of jail. There are many civil rights organizations that are working towards equality and working towards fighting injustice and police brutality that you can donate to. And I'm going to post a lot of their links below so you can easily find them on this video. If you cannot physically march, but you can get outside, grab some bottles of water, some granola bars, and just go out to where you know protests are and hand out water, hand out food. Some of those protesters have been out there for hours. So just hand out water, hand out food, whatever you can hand out. Hand out something, juices, water, granola, sandwiches, whatever you can do, whatever you can get, go ahead and hand that out so those protesters can have something to eat and something to drink. You can always vote. Voting is something that's still important and still needed. Right now, it is an election year, so we will have a presidential election coming up in November. And it's primaries that are coming up for some states. But do not just vote in the presidential election. Vote in your local communities. Vote for your city council, for your mayor, for your senators and representatives. Anytime an option or the opportunity comes up to vote, you should go out and vote. This is your duty, not your right, but your duty as a U.S. citizen to go out and vote. And so if you're able to, go and vote. Find a way. Find a way. Go look up your local polling stations. Go look up who's running for office and in what ballots. Look up your state and your parish or county's local voting dates. But whatever you need to do, you need to make sure that you go out and vote. Especially if you are Black, Latino, minority, if you are poor and make below, a certain income level. These are all, if you're a woman, these are all realms where at once upon a time, people could not vote for those reasons, for being Black, for being a woman, for being poor. And so if those qualify to any of you, you most importantly need to be going vote, because so many people have fought for your right simply to just walk into that voting office and cast a ballot. And so it's important that you vote. In the meantime, while we're waiting to vote, another thing that you can do to help the cause is to use social media and use whatever platforms that you have. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, whatever you have, use it to educate others on why the murder of George Floyd and so many others like him, and why police brutality is not only an injustice, but it's an injustice that all of us need to fight against. There are plenty of news articles, plenty of blog posts that discuss this issue. And so use your platform to bring awareness to Black Lives Matter, to police brutality against Black citizens in the United States, to educate others. Because a lot of people out there that are not Black are sitting there and thinking, well, this issue doesn't affect me. But guess what? It does. Because the day that a police officer can murder a U.S. citizen in the United States of America and not face any type of retribution, or face very little retribution, like just simply being fired, is an injustice to everybody. Because if they could do it to them and get away, that means they might be able to do it to you and get away. And especially something that I've been very upset against is seeing a lot of anti-Blackness in the Latino community. The Latino community is not immune to police brutality, not in the slightest. The Latino community is not immune to injustice and racism. And so this is the time that we need to join arm in arm with our Black brothers and sisters and fight against the same issues that our community is suffering from too. Our fight is their fight. So there's no reason for any of us to sit down, look, and simply do nothing. Everybody has a ministry. There's something that everybody can do. And this is the time to do it. So march if you can. Donate if you can. Hand out water and food to protesters if you can. Advocate if you can. Vote if you can. Educate if you can. But no matter what it is, there is something that you can do. And most importantly, if you have Black family members, Black friends, Black loved ones, reach out to them right now. Check on them. See how they're doing. Because they may not be doing all right. And that's understandable, because they are seeing people that look like them being murdered out in the streets. And not only that, but the murders going without justice. And not only that, but people justifying those murders, saying things like he should have complied. But in her past, she did this. She was smoking a cigarette. She didn't follow orders. He was selling illegal CDs. He was selling cigarettes out the pack. In most cases, I don't want to say all, but I would, confidently, I would say all. In nearly all cases of police brutality, especially against black people, there have been other people coming behind them and justifying their murders for any number of reasons. And so I'm saying this to say, reach out to your black loved ones. Check on them. Hear them. Listen to them. Not lecture them. Listen to them. Be the ear that they need right now. And learn from them. Learn about their experience, about what they are going through, about what they are fighting. And don't rebuttal. Don't say, yeah, I hear that, but no. This is their time to vent, to let out their stresses, let out their anger and their frustration. This is their time to cry, to yell, to fight. We need to be there to listen and to fight with them and to support them. And so I thank you for tuning into another episode. I know this one was different, but I could not just simply sit by and watch by. And so, mi gente, I thank you for joining me for another episode of the Cooking Papi. And as always, remember, Black Lives Matter.